Now we're going to move to replacing these two coolant sensors. One of them that we're going to need to replace is in the water pump. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of on the bottom right there. You can see the wires running to it. And then the other one we're going to need to replace is in the side of the radiator. That square thing down there. So, first things first, if we're going to pull that one out of the water pump, we're going to need to drain the radiator, which is fine because if you remember, we did flush the radiator, but I'm sure what's in the radiator, hopefully after we've run it for about 30 minutes, is a mixture of what was in the radiator and the engine. So we really need to flush it again, minimum of one more time. So I'm gonna slide up underneath here and loosen the drain valve, drain the coolant into that small catch pan down there, and go from there. So now what we need to do is just find you a good angle where you can see what we're doing. There's no fun if you can't see what's going on. Could be worse. Could be better. So the little drain valve is right. Well, let's see. There. So what we're going to do is loosen that up. It's going to shoot coolant down off the bottom into our little catch pan, and hopefully not make a mess all over my driveway where some poor animal is going to come along and try to drink it. We ain't trying to poison nobody or nothing. So now, I know this kind of seems counterproductive with our plans of replacing the timing chain, because when we go to do that, we're going to have to drain it again. But what I'll do is get a new clean catch pan at that point and just catch all the coolant and just reuse it, because most of it should still be good by then. So we will kill the light. And just spend time staring up at the clouds. Better than watching coolant drain, which is about as exciting as watching the grass grow. Enough of that. Back to the coolant. We're doing things in a certain order here, and there's a certain reason why. kind of like when you start working on an old car like this, why you want to see that it's going to run before you start changing the oil. You want to get it to run. As long as you've got oil in it, then once it runs and you decide if it's worth pursuing, then you can move forward with changing the oil. You don't want to waste perfectly good oil and filter $20 or more on a car that's not going to run. So then once you get the car running, I don't know the history of this car. All I know is it's got extremely high miles on it. So we want to make sure that the transmission's going to shift out, right? And the engine's going to move the car along before we replace the timing chain and before we service the transmission. So I've kind of tried to break this down in steps or in stages that make sense, at least financially to me. So once we replace these sensors and we put the car back together, and as long as the radiator doesn't sound like it's chewing on metal, and as long as the fans come on, then we can try to go around our subdivision. And as long as it goes around the subdivision, then we'll move forward with replacing the timing chain and changing the fluid and filter in the transmission. And then at the same time, when we do the timing chain, we'll do the plugs and spark plug wires as well, and a new water pump. But I don't want to go ahead and take it apart and put a timing chain on it and then transmission not shift out of first gear, or the engine catastrophically explode on me. It just wouldn't be worth my time or effort. So at least that's my train of thought anyway. So we'll keep an eye on that pan, and I think the next thing we're going to do here is go ahead and remove the battery so we can get to that little square sensor on the side of the radiator there. I'm not entirely for sure how that even goes on, so I guess we're going to find out. Let's find a place to put you so you can kind of see what's going on. We can go from there. That looks as good as any spot to me. So the negative battery cable is unhooked, but we need to go ahead and undo the positive cables. Can't remember, but I think it's a 14. Been a minute. 14 or 13, one or the other. Looks like it's a 14. Didn't make it very tight. I knew I'd be coming back pulling it. Now, the little sensor we want is right here. So it looks like it's got a little connector on the bottom. Little electric connector for the plug-in right here. Not for sure how that works, but we will find out. As soon as I get a good look at the other one. Let's see. I have never dealt with anything that looks like this before. So I'm assuming this little spring connector Just kind of holds it in place, and then maybe it kind of just slides off. Let's see. I'm thinking, I could be wrong, I ain't the smartest person around, that this kind of just helps kind of hold where it's crimped in here on the sides onto where this plugs in at. So I think if we just lift one of these springs off on that one, then it should just come right off. But nothing's ever that easy. For me, anyway. So, I don't know if you can see that. There that is. Good thing I didn't need that clip because I just lost it. Where the hell that went to? So, I think we can see why this one's not working anymore. It's pretty corroded. So, it goes into the radiator right there. See if I can give you a little light. There we go. Let there be light. Right here. Remember, and those have watched from the beginning, this car's set for years. The lady that I bought it from claimed it's set for 3. I tend to think it was a lot more than that. So we're going to add our new sensor, and I bet I have to take this off to put it on. I don't think it'll just clip on. It could. I guess we could try it. I think it's in there. At least I heard something pop. Better be in there. If not, I broke it. Not my first time breaking stuff. I have a bad habit of breaking stuff because I'm just a little too rough with it. I always expect something to need just that little bit more of something to get it together. And every time I do that, I usually break it. So I think we're installed. Hopefully that solves that problem. The reason why we were changing this again is because there was a coolant or a low coolant light on the dashboard that no matter how full we got everything, never went off. So hopefully this resolves that problem. On to the next. So I think that was the easy one. We have the one down here in the water pump now, which I'll give you a little light. See if you can see. There you go. A green looking thing down there. It has a harness that clips on it too, and it just screws out. So we just drained our radiator, so hopefully that put our water pump empty of coolant, and we won't lose a whole bunch all over the driveway. I don't know how you're going to see that. Nah, well, better than nothing. So we're going to try to get off the little electrical connector without breaking it, which on these old cars have probably never been off. So it's going to be next to impossible get it off without breaking something. Okay, so the new one looks like this, and it looks exactly the same as the other one. Trying to figure out where my plug-in went. So what we're going to need to do is figure out what size socket it's going to take to remove this. And this looks like it's got a little bit of thread sealant or thread locker on it already. So let's get that one out of there. A 3/4 inch or 3/4 of an inch. Well, let's just see if we can. There ain't a lot of room there. I wonder if I can get a socket on there. And of course, this is one of those times when the wife calls and it gets mad and you don't jump up and go answer the phone the second she calls. Look. So I'm not for sure if you saw that or not. You probably didn't. There's a lot of coolant hiding in there. I just got bathed. About 80% of it went in the catch pan. And then of course the rest of it went all over the driveway. Just what we were trying to avoid. Figures. So, somewhere down here is the sensor that is hopefully causing my cooling fans not to come on. This thing right here. So it looks like it has been replaced at some point in time because there's Teflon tape on it. I don't know if you can see the tape very well. So I'm gonna stop for a minute. Alrighty then. Okay, so we took a bath with coolant, and you can see the pan down there. So the goal now is to get the new one in there. And wrap this little project up. Hopefully, move it on to the next stage. Alright, we got started. Now we're going to go back up from the bottom, back up and get it tight. That's enough, hopefully, where we don't have any leaks. All of our sensors are installed. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. Now we just need to get it all put back together and filled up full of fluid. But an opportunity has presented itself. I think we need to go get it. We've got somebody on the Facebook marketplace who's selling some early 2000 Camaro wheels and tires that we need 2 sets of them actually. He's asking $400 for them, and if they're as good as they say they are in the pictures, then I think it's something we're going to go pick up. So what we're going to do is wrap this up for the time being and go get cleaned up and go take a look at these wheels.